Mrs. Finn. Welcome to all of you lovely parents. We are really excited today to sort of talk about year one. It's like week 2 already, and it's going so quick already, and there's so much to share with you. So we are going to try to share as much as we can. And as Mrs. Finn said, do give us some questions, and we will get that chance at the end to communicate and answer any queries that you may have. So I'll start straight away and I'll share the PowerPoint screen. Okay, I'm getting a bit nervous because I haven't shared from Zoom before. So please bear with me, and I will. Please tell me you can see the PowerPoint.
Yes, we can. Yeah. Can you pop it on presentation mode? We had a parent ask that earlier. That would be great. Thank you.
Here we go. Are we ready? Is that clear? Yeah, everybody can see the screen.
Yeah.
Lovely. So, well, thank you for joining us and welcome to Year 1 Meet the Team. And we're going to start with the team. So, of course, these are the special sort of people that you'll be probably meeting and your children will be with over the year. I'm just going to move this bit over here. So, of course, we've got Mrs. Finn, who's fabulous, and she looks after us all. She manages us all whenever we need her. She's there. So we're really grateful to have Mrs. Finn with us as well today. And then, of course, myself, Mrs. Yasmin. I'm the head of Year 1. Mrs. Mataki, class teacher of 1LM. Mrs. Teeny. I'm sorry, Miss Teeny, not married yet. Miss Teeny. She's a class teacher, 1RT, and I've also put the photos of these special teachers, and so we've got these inclusion teachers. We've got Miss Button, who is the primary Senko, and she'll also be working with some of our children in Year 1, and this special lady, Mrs. Khanna. Some of you will be familiar with Mrs. Khanna from FS2, and we're really lucky to have Mrs. Khanna. She is our ELL teacher, so some of your children might be working with her. So this is the team as teachers, and I'm also delighted to share with you our beautiful teaching assistants. And as you know, we can't do anything without our teaching assistants. They play just as important role as we do. So Miss Disha is my fabulous TA for class 1GY, and I've got Miss Nazreen, who is my LSA, and we've got Miss Lena, who supports Mrs. Mitaki in 1LM, and we've got the lovely Miss Catherine, who supports Miss Teeny. Steadily move on. Now, we're really fortunate and lucky to have these amazing specialist teachers. So we have, these are the PE teachers that will be doing the PE lessons with Year 1. So we've got Mrs. Rayner, Mrs. McKelly, and Mr. Stone. We've also got Miss Robinson, because she knew I couldn't find a photo of Miss Robinson, but I'm sure that I'll be able to find one soon. We all know the fabulous Miss O'Neill, okay, and she will be she'll continue to do music with your children, and because she was their FS2 music teachers, they're already familiar with her. And we move over to our Arabic teachers, and we've got Miss Nazreen, who I'm sure they're familiar with. We've got Miss Ruba, and we've got Miss Bigan, okay? And these are our Arabic teachers for this year. Over to you, Mrs. Mataki.
Okay, so this is, I'm just going to move so I can see it. That's it. Okay, so this is a typical timetable for Year 1. So every morning we will have our math session, and our phonics is also after lunch every day. And then you'll see that we have a range of specialist subjects throughout the week. So the children have Arabic A and B. So children who are Arabic A are native speakers of Arabic, and they will be working in Arabic A. And those children that are learning Arabic as a second language are Arabic B. We also are very lucky to have swimming and PE. Currently, the children aren't taking swimming, but they will have a second PE session. And we also have the wonderful music lessons with Miss O'Neill. And then the children also have, let me see, Islamic, that's what I was looking for. So children who are Islamic, they are either in A or B. Again, those that are native speakers of Arabic will be in Islamic A, and then those children that are still learning Arabic will be Islamic B, those are English speaking. Okay, and we also have social studies where we children learn all about the UAE and our culture of where we live here. We have moral studies where that's lots of talking about being good people and how we're respectful, and a lot of our the wet learner profile feeds into that. The children also have assembly on a Thursday, and that's on Teams at the moment, and we also have a library session within the week also. Okay.
Thank you, Mrs. Mataki.
Okay, so timings and drop off and pick up. So as you know, we are now having a very independent start to the morning. So the children are, the gates are open from 7:25, but the children need to be in class by 7:45 on every day. So you can drop them at the gates. I'm pointing there because that's where it is in relation to me. So you can drop them by the gates, and then we have a runway of staff, and the children can walk down like they're celebrities, and they are passed along the line to make sure they get to their classes safely. And then 3 o'clock we have pickup, and it's in the same place. And I know children that have been picked up recently, you know exactly where we are now. And then on a Thursday, pickup is at 1 o'clock. So it's slightly different on a Thursday. It's really important that the children arrive in school on time and are collected on time. It's really unsettling if the children are very late, especially if the rest of the class are already starting their lessons and the children coming late. It can be very unsettling for them, having to try and get themselves caught up. And again, at the end of the day, it can be quite upsetting for the children if they're still standing, waiting for mums and dads to come and collect them. So please be on time and prompt. And we also have this delightful cup here. So we call it the Otis Cup, which stands for on time and in school. And each week the teachers become very, very competitive about who is going to win this cup. And it's the class that has the best attendance of the week. So it's another way to try and encourage the children to be on time and in school as much as possible. Okay.
Thank you, Mrs. Mataki.
Okay, so over to me. We're doing the attendance next. So it's very important that you send your children to school as much as they can. Now, we understand some days children are sick and they have to stay at home. And if that is the case, please notify your teacher and the administration that they are sick and they're absent, and for what reason as well, because we have to log it on our attendance system in school, which is also checked by the administration. So if we don't hear from you before drop off time, we are going to put them down as an N, and we will not know what the reason is for them being sick, and you will receive a phone call. So it's very important to let us know as early as possible, and even if your child is sick that night, you can let us know as well that they won't be in the next day. That is fine too. It's very important as well, do not send your child to school if he or she is having a fever or flu-like symptoms. Obviously, with the current environment at the moment, it is very, very important to be wary and obviously be very aware of passing on bugs. And we understand children do just get sick with a normal cold as well, but we just need to be a bit more mindful. So do let us know, and if your child is anyway ill, please do not send them to school. And you can always, the first aid call, you can always contact as well and let us know what is the symptoms and if there's anything, and you can speak to our clinic as well. Okay, so it's very important. As I said there, you can use that email absent_wec@gemsedu.com and CC that as well as your teacher when you're letting them know that your child is ill that day. Or if you need a leave for, I've had parents need to go to the embassy, or for personal reasons, if you need leave, you can also contact that email absent_wec@gemseducation.com, and do always let your teacher know as well. So we're all in the loop. So not just the admin and not just the teachers, but everyone knows, okay, to cover it. And there is the reasons there, school leave reasons that were listed.
Oh, sorry,
well.
Mrs. T.
No, that's fine. They were listed there, so I know everyone can see for different reasons we take our leave. The next one is uniform. Now, I know parents are fantastic about making sure their child is wearing the right uniform on the right day. And I've had a load of parents come to me at 3 o'clock going, tomorrow is PE, right? It is to PE. And it's very, very nice. So when you check your timetable, it is very important that you can check when your child has PE. Obviously, we have PE on different days. And on the days that they have PE, they need to wear their sports uniform. So make sure you send them in sports uniform on those days. And all uniform that you send in, school uniform, sports uniform, bags, lunch boxes, water bottles, everything needs to be labeled. It is really, really important to make sure that you have everything labeled, because things do go missing. Caps as well is another one that always seems to go missing. And your PE uniform has your house colors. So your child is in one of the 4 houses, onyx, pearl, ruby, or emerald. So just make sure you also have the right PE kit for that house. And always make sure they look clean and tidy. Obviously tuck in their shirts. You can see the children here are looking very smart with their polos tucked in, smart black shoes. Very important we wear the correct school shoes as well that are appropriate, because remember we will be going to the playground and they need to be able to run in their shoes that are practical. We do encourage you send your child with a cap, the WEC cap. And obviously this is very important with the sunshine being so strong outside. They must be wearing their cap, and a lot of them come in the morning wearing their cap and they leave at the end of the day wearing their cap. So obviously we're minimizing their exposure to sunshine. Label everything I've said. Oh, and we've also sent out an email to all the WEC Year 1 parents this last weekend saying please send spare clothes, keep them in your child's bag at the bottom, a spare underwear, a spare t-shirt and a spare shorts. You know, accidents do happen. The children are adjusting to the Year 1 timetable. Obviously we're a lot further away from the toilets than we were in the FS, so these accidents do happen even with paint or food or yogurt. So yes, please do keep some spare clothes in your child's bag at all times. Thanks.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Miss Teeny. Right. It's my turn now. So I just want to speak to you about breaks and lunches. So of course, it's really important that the children get have a really healthy packed lunch and a packed snack, a healthy snack. We also sent an email to parents regarding snacks. We noticed that a lot of children have come to school and they're always hungry. They're so hungry. Every so often they're like, is it lunchtime? Is it snack time? And that's understandable. It's like, you know, they've been at home for such a long time where they can eat whenever they want. So we have sent an email to request for extra snacks. So it's a long day for these for the Year 1 children, and most of you are sending in extra snacks, and that's lovely. There was just a few children who sort of had their snack and finished off all their lunch, and then in the afternoon they were hungry. So we are giving them an extra sort of a break just in between home time and after lunchtime in the afternoon. Just please make sure that the children are bringing healthy snacks. We definitely want fruit and vegetables and, you know, all the healthy foods that the children can eat. And of course, you know, it's really important that we don't have any nuts. Work is a nut-free school, and we really it's really important that we comply with these rules. And also Nutella is, you know, it's got full of hazelnuts, so please don't spread any Nutella for the children. No pork, no whole grapes, and if there's any particular allergies, please immediately get in touch with the medical team, and of course get in touch with the class teachers. Promoting independence is very important. I feel like when the transition from FS2 to Year 1 is a very big one, and one of the main aspects of this transition is independence. We want the children to be more independent, and especially with our current environment, you know, having that social distance, of course, that rule applies to us as well. There's only, of course, we have to comply with the social distancing. We can only go really close to the children in case they really need us or they're really upset. And of course, and if if they're being fed at home or if they're taken to the toilet at home, then they are going to be struggling in school, and we need your help on this. Please, when they are eating at home, they need to be feeding themselves, and they need to be going to the toilet independently, able to clean themselves. The sooner you are doing these independent activities at home, they will have no issues in school. They will be happier, because that's the last thing we want, is for children to be upset, considering either that they're not finishing their food because they're so used to being fed, or somebody takes them to the toilet and they don't want to go to the toilet themselves, because these things are going to affect them. So please make sure that we are promoting independence. That's really, really important here in year 1. Another very important aspect of coming back to school is sleep. Now, I've noticed that quite a few of my children, especially today, Sundays is the worst day. Everyone's falling asleep. I'm like, oh, it's Sunday. I know, and of course they've had the weekend, and that's understandable. But you really need to establish a good bedtime routine, and it is really important that the children are getting that enough sleep. Children get very, very stressed and ratty if they are tired and they don't want to join in or get engaged, and it does have a big impact on their learning. So I've been talking to parents. Some parents have been saying they've been taking their children in bed for 9 and 8. I would recommend 7 o'clock, to be honest, getting them ready early as possible, getting them into a routine. Let's read a story so they get into that routine, and they know it's bedtime. And so for children aged 6 to 7, they need to have at least 10 to 10.5 hours of sleep. Of course, if they're not getting that much, they are not going to be them feeling full of energy. They're not going to be want to engage, and especially towards the afternoon, they'll probably not want to join in with the activities, and they'll be missing out. So this is really, really crucial that we make sure that they have their sleep that they need, 10 to 10.5 hours. To be honest, they don't really need to nap in the day. That's up until age 4. So if you're finding that children are going home and they're going to sleep and then they're waking back up again, then that routine needs to be changed, because of course then their sort of whole routines getting disrupted. So I feel that the sleeping pattern, the routine is crucial for the children to be happy and making the most of their day in school. So please make sure that the children are getting enough sleep. This is Mateko.
Yes. Okay, so we like to very much so be very positive with the children, and we practice positive reinforcement and positive behaviour in school. So I'm going to just talk to you about a couple of the different things we have in school to promote positive behaviour. So the first one is a traffic light system. So the children will start on the green, on the positive way, and then if something is maybe not so wonderful, we might think about moving them on a traffic light. But we're always talking about the positives. We're always trying to look for the positives. If somebody else is doing something positive, we try to, instead of tell a child not to do something, we try to show them the positive behaviour in maybe someone else's the way someone else is behaving in the class. We also have something called Class Dojo. Now you can see on the screen here, all the children are given like a little monster, and every day we would give our house points. So the children collect house points for all sorts of things which relate to our WEC learner profile. So being team workers, being resilient, being risk takers, and we work really hard in promoting that. And so again, we're trying to reward positive behaviour rather than highlight negative behaviour. So the children have a little monster, and the children are able to earn house points. And then at the end of the week, the house points are all collected up for the whole school, and they go onto the house point leaderboard. This is also an indicator for the WEC Learner of the Week. So once a week, we have something called the WEC Learner of the week, where somebody who has displayed super behaviour and has really shown the different aspects of the WEC learner profile. So once again, like working hard, really listening, doing their best, maybe being a bit of a risk taker or a critical thinker, and they will be chosen out of the class. And there's one per week, and they get a certificate and wonderful claps and cheers from us all in assembly. So that's another way how we promote positive behaviour. So again, we're just always trying to look for the positive in the children rather than highlight the negative. Obviously, we don't, if there's something that we need to talk to the children about, we do. But again, it's really trying to focus on, the children understanding why that behaviour isn't maybe appropriate and what they can do in order to turn that around, and again, focusing on that positive. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. McCann.
That's okay. Okay, so communication. Obviously, communication is key. We all need to work as a team. So the staff, the children, the parents, it's really important that we have, between the teachers and the parents, we have a real open communication. So we have lots and lots of ways that you communicate. Obviously, in current times, we're not in that position where we are having those face-to-face meetings all the time, but we are still here and available. So we are always on email. So if you need to speak to us about anything, feel free to email. And if it's something you would like to talk to us about, we can arrange maybe a Zoom call like this or a Teams meeting, and then we can try and have that face-to-face communication, which is so important. We put all of our information about year one on the Padlet. Now, the link has been sent to you last week. So go into the Padlet. It's a one-stop shop for everything. We pop on everything on there. So any newsletters, any letters that go home, we pop on extra support with some of the activities we do in school, like Reggie Words and reading. We also put on our home learning manual, which will go on there. So that's really the one-stop shop for all our communication. Also, D6. Now, if you haven't downloaded this, it's an application you can download on your phone. You just need to pop in what school you're in and the year group, and you will get notifications on your phone of anything that goes out from the school, whether this is school-wide or specific to your child's key stage. We also have Instagram, there's Facebook, and there's the GEMS Connect app where you can get lots of rewards. And that's GEMS Rewards, sorry, that's a different thing. GEMS Connect is where we get all our reports and things like that. Any reports for the children will go onto the GEMS Connect app, and you should be able to get a login for that. And of course, good old-fashioned telephone call. If you need to speak to us, obviously during the day we are teaching, so if we don't email or respond to emails during the day or phone calls, it's because we are teaching. As soon as we are able to, we will email back, and we try to email back within 24 hours. And again, with phone calls, obviously when we're in class teaching, we aren't able to be to call you, because obviously we're teaching your children. So just please be patient, that if you do give us a call and leave a message at reception or email us, we will get back to you as soon as we can. And on here is the link to the Padlet, a QR code for you. But please don't hesitate to ask. If there's anything you need, please make sure you contact us. Okay?
Thanks, Miss. Can I just add something for the Padlet?
Yes.
The Padlet currently, I noticed that there were some older newsletters from last year. Now, I've just recently got my computer upgraded, and for some reason it's not letting me do anything on Padlet, and I've asked Miss Teeny, bless her, she's deleted the old newsletters, and we sent a brief newsletter via an email on Thursday, but this coming Thursday you will see the newsletter for this week on the Padlet, and but all the other resources that you could use with your children, any activities or number formation, those are still on there, and we will be updating that from this Thursday onwards. Miss Teeny.
Okay, so photo permission is the next thing. So obviously a lot of parents, especially my parents, have been really keen to see the WEC Year One Instagram page, and obviously we are very happy to share occasional pictures about things we're doing and activities we're doing in school, but it is also an option for parents that may not want to share their child's photo online. And if this is the case, you need to just email the teacher and let us know if you prefer not to have your child be seen on public websites and apps. Okay, so that's fine, just let us know. We do love to celebrate, you know, different activities, trips, you know, topics, and things that we're really busy doing in the school occasionally on our Instagram, so you can watch out for that. But as I've asked my parents, we get like a username on the Instagram, so the username we might not recognize, you might not have the same username as your name or your email. So that's why I've asked, please email the parents, please email the teachers and tell them your username for Instagram, and also then send them the request on the WEC Year 1, and then we can match them up and make sure that that is the parent. And we're really strict about that because it is not a public page. It cannot be for child safety reasons, and only parents are allowed to have access to that page. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Keeney.
Home learning. Okay, so home learning Year 1, this is a big step up from FS, and we do give out a home learning menu, and this you can find on the Padlet, and you will be able to see a variety of different activities. So these are linked to like our skills boost, and our skills boost would be activities that are focused around letter formation, number formation, things that children will need to practice regularly. So the skills boost is a variety of activities. You can do it over the weekend. It is optional. You can choose whatever activity you like on there to do with your child, giving them a bit of choice as well to decide about their learning and what they'd like to do. You can find this on the Padlet, and they are completely optional. So parents, please don't worry if you're not able to do it. It is just that bit extra activities to practice and just to keep active with the learning as well across the weekend. Reading is also very important. We are always encouraging reading. Your child should receive a library book, and they usually get a reading book as well. And we encourage reading at home. We used Epic, which is a free website last year, and has access to a massive variety of books, which is also wonderful. So it's called Get Epic if you want to Google it. And we encourage reading across the year. And it is wonderful to hear back from the children all the stories and books they love, and they usually sometimes bring in books, they share them, which is lovely as well. And obviously in the current situation we aren't encouraging that at the moment, but you can always discuss stories and books and activities with your children at home. And we also have the Reading Rocket initiative. This is a big massive rocket outside of our door, and we encourage the children to read to, is it 50 books or 100? 50, I can't remember. 50 books. So when they get to 50 books, they have a little book that they signed, and you would sign, okay, today my child has read Goldilocks and the Three Bears with me at home, and that's one book. So then they would move up to one on the rocket, and the more books they read, when they get to 50, they get to go to a tea party, which is very exciting. Now this is obviously COVID pending, and we will let you know more in the future, but that is the incentive as well, to encourage more reading, because it's just so important. And I've already said Epic, getepic.com for books online is another wonderful app and website, so definitely check that out. It is completely free and parents can sign up. Okay,
thanks, Ms. Teeny. I will talk to you a little bit about the typical topics that we cover here in Year 1. So we try to do these fun topics and get children engaged in getting different activities done. So our first topic is, where does our food come from, which we're starting this term. We're going to be starting introducing our story for this term, which is called, oh my goodness, it's lost my head.
The Lighthouse Keeper's Lunch.
Lighthouse Keeper's Lunch. Oh,
our new and exciting book.
It's very exciting, and we didn't actually. This is the first time we're using this, because this is Saki's idea. She was like, "This book is amazing," and we know the children will love it. And it will link with our topic of plants, and in science we'll be looking at plants. So of course, where does food come from, and healthy eating. It's quite a big topic where we're going to be covering lots of different things. We move on a topic called significant people, where we look at royal families in the UK and the UAE. We then also look at extreme weather, where the children become weather reporters, or they basically practice to use the correct vocabulary to actually report the weather. And then finally, we have a topic called changes over time, where we look at the toys and information from the past and people in the past that have helped us, even that have helped us today. And our science topics are, of course, I've spoken about plants. This is going to be the first term topic, all about plants and growing. And then we move on to seasonal changes, animals, including humans, and everyday materials. And of course, in year one, we have, in terms of the subjects, I think we have more of a variety of subjects in year one. Of course, we did have English and phonics in FS2, so that will continue, but we sort of have more sort of broader learning objectives to cover. We have maths, and what we do, especially in the first term, is to do a lot of play-based learning and a lot of practical activities, hands-on activities, so that the children that transition from FS is more smoother, and we definitely feel that the children are more engaged and definitely get more from the activity if it is hands-on practical activity. Of course, we do science. We also do the UAE social studies, learning about the UAE. We do moral education. We have PE, Arabic, Islamic, and also music. So there's quite a variety of subjects that we cover in year one. All right, and we're coming to the end of our meeting. Before I come to you, of course, the picture says it all. We can't do it all by ourselves. You know, we need you. We always need our parents, and every year we always have a very successful year, only because we have our parents with us, and it's all through this amazing teamwork that we can have a successful educational journey for your children. And before we go into your questions, I do want to say that it's been quite a few hard months, you know, with everything going on, and I can imagine how anxious you as parents have been. I'm a parent as well, and of course my boys also come to work, and you know, I was also anxious, even though they're quite older. But as parents, you know, the safety of our children is number one, and that is the same for us as teachers. So in terms of the safety of your children, the layout of the classes is different. You've probably already noticed that. I think I'm confusing my parents. Sometimes I'm in one door, and other days I'm in the other door. They're like, what is she doing? I'm not playing games with you, I promise. You know, we do have, each teacher does have 2 classes, and that is just to maintain that social distance. Of course, you know, our number one priority is to keep the children safe, and in order to do that, we've had to split the whole class into 2. And the first 2 weeks, we've been basically talking a lot about, you know, keeping that distance, washing our hands, and just going over these rules that the children need to know. And we've been really doing some. We just really want the children to settle and trust us as teachers, as their educators, because of course they're new to them, they're new to us, and all last week and even this week, these first 2 weeks is all about creating that bond and making sure that your children are happy, and that's our priority, to be honest. And of course, it's a new way of teaching and learning for us all, just as it is for your children. So of course, as we've got 2 classes, we are teaching we're teaching over the two classes. So of course, we've got one class that watches us through a screen, and they are supported by a teaching assistant. And then one, actually, you've got the teacher in front of them, and then we swap over. So please don't think that your children will only see us in a screen. We're going to be sort of rotating between 2 classes and make sure that both classes, all the children get the equal amount of our face-to-face teaching. And then of course we've also got to consider the online children. So this is a whole like a new ball game for all of us, and I'm asking for you to bear with us. We will get there. We just need you to be a little bit more patient with us. Maybe if we haven't answered an email because there's been sort of like we've just sort of haven't had a chance, or there's been something else going on, we will make sure that, of course, these first few weeks, it's a bit of a trial and error. And because we have such high standards here in year one, we want the best. And we just want to make sure that all the children under our care get the best. And on the way, we might make mistakes. So please be patient with us as we are learning. This is a new system for us, but I know that with your support, we will get there, and we will make the most and the most of this situation that we're in. And so that's, I just wanted to sort of share that with you, that we are in that place where nobody's ever been, and it's new for all of us. As long as we work together and have that key communication, I am sure that we will have a very successful year one. And to be honest, all the children in year one so far, they're coming to school, and when they're in class, and I know that Miss Tina and Miss Becky will agree, they are happy, and and that's our main priority. They are settled, they are listening, and we were like, are they going to be okay sitting at a distance from their friends? But they can see them and they can talk to them, and I'm just overwhelmed of how quickly they have all settled, and they are doing so well, and this is an amazing sign that we are only just going to get better. So does Mrs. Pataki, do you want to add anything? Mrs. Tierney, would you like to add anything?
I think you've said it all there, Mrs. Jasmine. I'm getting a bit teary-eyed, Mrs. Jasmine. It was quite emotional.
Mrs. Yasmin, there's a few questions in the chat that I'm going to try and answer. I was starting to type, but I thought it would be easier just to answer them. So we've got one parent who's asking if there's a child with flu-like symptoms, but they're still feeling okay, can they study from home? This is actually something that we're looking into at the moment. So the answer right now would be yes, they can, because there's nothing to stop you from doing that. But we're aware that actually for the class teacher, that could become quite confusing to try and figure out who is at home learning today, who's in school, and it's extremely difficult to plan for that. So let me just get back to you on that answer. I know that right now it has happened where we've had maybe a child where the parent thought it'd be best not to send them on that day, and they've done remote learning for that day, but it could very quickly become quite unmanageable if we're allowing that all over the school. So let me come back to you with that answer. We'll answer that in the next newsletter, hopefully at the end of the week. Someone else is asking, will we be live streaming yoga sessions? I know that teachers sometimes might do a short period of yoga as part of an enrichment session. If the enrichment session is scheduled to be live that day, then you would expect whatever was happening in the enrichment session to be live, whether that was yoga or whatever it might be. But if the enrichment session is pre-recorded that day, then you would be sent the link for it. We have not dictated to the teachers whether enrichment has to be pre-recorded or live. We're really focusing on live streaming for the core subjects, which would not include enrichment. So the coverage for Islamic. So right now we're not allowed to take Muslim children out of the classroom to be mixed together and go to Islamic lessons. So what's happening is for children who are not Muslim, the teachers would be setting sort of target time activities for them. So it might be that they're doing some extra spelling practice or handwriting or whatever the teacher feels that they need to bring them on in their learning. And the children who are Muslim will be staying in the same bubble, if you like, of children. And the Islamic teacher will come into one of those classes and she will live stream the lesson across all of those classes for the children. So I know that for so Islamic A and Islamic B actually have the same curriculum, so they need to cover the same objectives, but obviously one is more Arabic based than the other. So the Islamic A teacher would be in one sort of pair of classrooms, streaming across both, and then there would be a follow-up task, and then the Islamic A and the Islamic B teacher will swap over, and then they would also have the other children would have either Islamic A or Islamic B at that time, and then they would have their follow-up task as well. So it is quite difficult to manage. That was one of the last things that we looked at, was how the delivery of Arabic and Islamic, but the problem that we have right now is not being able to mix the children, and usually that is how we would deliver Islamic and Arabic. But we've been doing that this week, and we're quite confident that as we did last week with English and maths and everything else, that we'll get there by the end of the week and we'll be in a flow with that. Someone was saying, would we mind explaining the typical daily teaching methods for a Year 1 student? So the children come in the morning, they will go into 2 different classes across one sort of teacher's class. We tried to put the children together based on friendship groups and other sort of information that we had about their learning. So they'll be in one classroom. The teacher will be floating between the 2 classrooms over the course of the day. We've got some new, very innovative technology in the school where the lessons are being live streamed from one class. So if Mrs. Matake goes into classroom A and she's teaching English, she will live stream that lesson into classroom B, as well as being face-to-face in classroom A. The teaching assistant would be next door, making sure that the children are supported. If they have any questions they want to ask, they can ask through the teaching assistant, who can stop the teacher so that the children can ask that question. And then also the teacher is supporting the children remotely at home. At the end of the teaching input for that lesson, so usually you would have the teacher talking at the beginning, and then the children would have an independent task to do. So that will still happen, but during the independent work time, the teacher will be floating between the 2 classrooms and working with the remote learners at home. You would think that sort of for each lesson, so if it was English, then maths, that the teacher will split her time. She won't do all of the face-to-face teaching in just one room for the whole day. She would be going between the 2 classes for the face-to-face. And the next day, if you taught English face-to-face in one class, you would want to then go into the next door classroom and teach it face-to-face there the next day, with it being live streamed next door. This parent's also asking, is there no outdoor activity except for PE? So right now we know that the temperatures are very high across Dubai. Normally we wouldn't be outside at this time of year anyway. The students will still have PE classes. We are starting to look at how we can possibly get the children out for outdoor play as the weather starts to cool. We don't have a solution for that right now. We're still taking guidance, but we're very keen to get the children outside playing as soon as we can. It might be that when we first reintroduce this, it might be that each class has a day where they go out into allocated sort of areas and equipment, and then we would expect to see that increase. So I think we've answered about how the class teacher and TA rotate. I think we've answered that question. Someone's asking, is there a restriction of movement for the children in the class? Obviously, because of what's happening, there will be a natural restriction of movement, and there's not a lot that we can do to completely eradicate that. But what we've done is, instead of having 2 enrichment sessions at the end of the day, we have said to the teachers, between each activity, could you try and have some kind of a movement break? So instead of having an hour of enrichment somewhere else in the week, split that up and have 2 minutes of movement in between each short activity. It might even be that you have movement between the teaching input and the independent activity. We want to get the children moving as much as possible. Thank you for all the lovely messages of thanks that you're putting in here. That's really, that's great that we are really blown away by how supportive the parents have been, so thank you, it makes a big difference. The timetable, let me just see. Can we ask for the timetable for the Year 1? So that should have been sent by the class teachers. If you haven't got that, please email your class teacher and she can send that again. Will the students go to school every day, or are there days where they will go live? So either you will have chosen for your child whether they will be doing remote learning. If you've chosen that, they have to sign up until the end of October, or you may have chosen for them to be on site, in which case they'll be in school every day. Class Dojo is not accessible for parents. It's only accessible for the teachers in school. And I think that's all of the questions that we've answered. If there's anything else, feel free to pop them in the chat. We'll stay on for a couple of moments. Teachers, Mrs. Yasmin, have you got anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think, Mrs. Mataki, do you have something?
Just a quick one about emails. Parents, can you make sure that the email that you've put down on the registration is the email you want to get communication from? Because there's often we get parents saying, I've not received anything, but we've sent the information out onto the email that's registered when you register your child, and it might be, maybe it's dad's email and he doesn't pass on the message, or maybe it's an old work email. Can you just make sure that you give us, if you're not receiving things, just check with us that our emails are matching up, just to make sure that we are giving you the information and you're receiving it, just to make sure that everyone's in the loop. Is that okay?
One last question. We've got a parent who's asked, are the children still having music and drama? The children in year 1 don't have drama. That stops at the end of FS2 because it's part of the expressive arts curriculum in FS, but they do still have music. And we're looking at ways of being sort of creative and making sure that children still get to, play the instruments. It might be that, I was talking to one of the teachers this morning, we might get to a point where when the children are learning to play instruments and sort of having a block of being an expert in an instrument, if you like, that we have to do recorded for remote learners, and the on-site learners might have a completely different lesson. Obviously, because every child that's learning at home won't have their own xylophone and guitar or violin or whatever it might be. So it might be that we have to sort of make that a little bit different for remote and on-site learners. But yes, they're continuing with music, and they still have Ruth O'Neill, who I know is hugely popular with everyone in the school, from teachers, parents, staff. She's absolutely amazing. So she's continuing to work with the year 1 this year. And that's us. Okay, so
I'm going to add one thing. So the PowerPoint that we just presented, we will be sending out to all our parents, and we will be sending the week 3, which is next week's timetable next week, and week 2 and week 1 we had to amend the timetable, and we've done some settling in activities and action timetable for our classes. We'll start week 3, and those will be sent to all the parents by Thursday, and we'll also be sending you these PowerPoints. So if you're going to go back to any information, you've got it for yourself.
super, thank you, and thank you again for the very nice words that are coming through on the chat just now. It's really, really appreciated. So that's all from us for today. If you've got any other questions, please reach out to your class teacher, and thank you so much. Can I just say a thank you to the 3 ladies, Mrs. Yasmin, Miss Tierney and Mrs. Mataki. They are doing an absolutely amazing job, and I am literally blown away with what these teachers are doing. They're literally spinning plates all over the place, teaching in one room with brand new technology, live streaming it next door, live streaming it back home. We will have hiccups in this process, and it's really important that we're all really patient with one another. The teachers have learned how to work an unbelievable amount of new technology over the last few weeks, and definitely the last 6 months. So thank you very much to the 3 of you. And that's us for today. We'll see you all very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.